Wednesday evening. You're warmly welcome. This is Strong and Sassy here on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Animwaa Anim-Addo. Join us on Facebook Live. You definitely want to see our faces. It will light up your life. I promise. But we're live and interactive. Facebook and other places as well. So tonight we're having a conversation about starting again after toxic relationships. Aram and Ariel, who are both very well known to the show, are joining us here tonight. Ariel is a wellness coach, and Aram is the one who has been training and beating all the boys at the gym.
You promised that you're not going to do
that
this.
We go to. So Aram and I go to the same gym.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Aram does not behave herself at the gym at all.
Aram, why do you do that?
Yeah, she's been beating the boys
I think
there.
you're being reported to me, so I might as well do the judging.
The judging of the
So why haven't you been behaving well at the gym?
What is your definition of not behaving?
Everybody who doesn't behave will ask for definition.
Exactly, because
Anyways.
it's a very subjective.
Yo, madam. French speaking, madam. Anyways, I promised I'll behave myself. So the fear of starting over after a toxic relationship. Ariel, let me start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
You see that these days, we call a lot of things. Like if you are dating somebody and the person doesn't like you again, no, he's toxic. He's toxic. Like, dude.
This is Strong and Sassy.
On Pelbium. It's very different from toxic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's define so that you won't be listening to us and think that we are talking about you. You know what I mean? And then so that also if you're listening to us and you have come out of a toxic relationship, then you can identify.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a lot of victims don't actually know.
No, it is a toxic relationship.
Yeah. So would you kind of just give us an idea of what a toxic relationship, not the whole book, just an idea.
Okay, an idea of what a toxic relationship is. A relationship where generally you feel demeaned all the time.
Okay.
You are not supported.
That's interesting.
You are always misunderstood. So your reality is always distorted to yourself because you are not made to believe what you are saying. And so your reality is always sort of, am I really speaking the truth? So you are always misunderstood. You are demeaned. You don't feel supported. And sometimes you feel like you're always being attacked. There's always that kind of attack on you that you're always on edge that what's going to be the next thing I'll do that this thing is going to happen. This means that it has gone on for a while and you kind of expect that something is about to happen. And 90% of the time, you're always unhappy in this relationship.
Right.
Anytime you leave this person, you feel drained. Anytime you're around this person, you feel drained. If it's a marriage, sometimes when he's in the hall, you want to go to the bedroom. When he's in the bedroom, you want to come to the hall. So there's this kind of, you try to isolate yourself. You're always feeling on edge around the person. This is what I'll call a toxic relationship. Yeah.
So, I mean, I love the description. But my fear with this description is that somebody who has unresolved trauma can create a world which fits what you have described.
Yeah.
But they're not actually in a toxic relationship. It's all about their own perception and their own
issues. Yeah.
So it becomes a bit difficult to really tell.
But again, somebody who is behaving like that might have also picked it from another toxic relationship.
And by that, we don't mean a
with a man. No, it
may
not
be
necessarily.
from,
Yes, but it has been. I mean, when we say relationship, not just a man and a woman. A relationship can be with even your sibling, even in the boardroom, even in the corporate world. There are toxic relationship happening. So somebody who behaves like you described might have gone through some toxic relationship and had fully not done the work to come out of the effect of being in a toxic relationship.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also want to say that, I mean, I love her definition. And like she said, I'm glad that we're not, obviously, maybe we will tailor this conversation to be like in relationship man-woman.
Yeah.
But then again, like there are people who are in toxic relationship with their female friends.
Yeah.
Like you just have that friend who has so much drama going on every time. By the time you finish having a conversation with them, you're like,
tired.
what is this? Like, so there is that toxic girlfriend relationship. And I mean, I was telling you before the show started that I'm quite nervous about this conversation, which
Why?
I don't know, but I mean, like, and my relationship wasn't toxic. It wasn't the relationship. It was I had a toxic work relationship, which she
Okay.
also mentioned that can be part. But then I'm looking forward to see how this conversation goes tonight.
You are supposed to be sharing as well.
I will be sharing. Maybe it's the sharing that's making me
Bro.
nervous, but like, let's see how it goes. I will try to be on my best behavior tonight.
You don't have to be. I mean, I don't think that Strong and Sassy is a space where we have to be on our
I
best.
know.
Otherwise, I'm the wrong host for the
Yeah,
show.
it's true.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely no. But for you, what is a toxic relationship?
You know-
love relationship.
Oh my god! And by Ariel's definition, right? I don't even think that I have been in a toxic like relationship, because you know me in real life, like I stay on business when it comes to my relationships. So
Yeah, we know you.
it will not get too toxic. But one thing I also have to say about like a toxic and sometimes it doesn't have to be the entire relationship. It will also be certain situations. So sometimes the way that people handle conflict can be toxic.
Be toxic,
So
yeah.
that is something that is the so I would go about it in that way, that sometimes handling of conflict can be toxic in a relationship. So it doesn't have to be the relationship entirely. So if you're listening to us and you may say, okay, maybe the whole relationship, but how do you handle conflict? How do you handle tough conversations? There are some people who they don't like to have tough conversations. So the moment you bring it up, it's like, oh, I don't want to do this, and like, it's about us. If we can't have a conversation about something that concerns us, who else am I supposed to have the conversation with? So that behavior, or you can be displaying a toxic behavior in a relationship, but the entire relationship will not be toxic.
Okay, so again, I completely get that. Again, my fear with the use of the word toxic is that sometimes people just don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe you meet someone, you're dating them. They've never really been in a relationship with, let's say, somebody like Aram.
Yeah, true.
So, you're coming to them with what are our short-term goals, what are our long-term goals, what are you thinking for this? And they are just completely baba-hazed by everything that you're saying, so they don't know how to react. So maybe they may shut down,
Yeah.
True.
or maybe that's not toxic.
No, it's not.
Aha.
Yeah.
So how do you identify that a behavior is toxic?
Okay. Good question. First,
I know I'm like that.
communication.
Sorry.
When your communication is always toxic, you are not heard. Anytime you speak, you're gaslighted. Everything you say is not of just in fact. So your communication is always one-sided. You are never heard. You can't speak your mind. Anything you say, when somebody plays a lot of sarcasm on every communication that comes out of your mouth, it's quite toxic. And so the first thing to start looking out for is how your communication goes. Do you feel like I can speak my truth? I can share my feelings and not feel fear about the person I'm going to talk to? So if your communications is very, very one-sided, where you are always shut down, you can't say anything. What do you think? Who feels so Anim-Addo? That's always that kind of demeaning in conversation. It is a sign of a toxic relationship. The next one is lack of support. Lack of support it can come to things home. It can come to your emotional needs. It can come to even simple kindness, the way the person speaks to you. It's part of support. So if you don't feel supported in the relationship, it's like you are in the relationship, but you're on your own. Or you are always the one working the relationship to stand. You are the one always keeping it in balance. The other person can do whatever they like. They don't apologize. They don't say please. They don't say thank you. But you are always like the one who is trying to get this thing to work. It means you are not being supported emotionally and also psychologically in the relationship. That is also something you can say it's toxic. The next thing I have known to happen a lot in toxic relationship is controlling. Controlling
Where
behavior.
Who are you with?
Exactly. Controlling behavior.
Wait, before you continue, control is a very dicey thing. Because so is control always toxic? And I'm asking this because sometimes control is coming from a place of anxiety
Okay.
or concern. Sometimes control is coming from a place of fear. You know, so is the motive for the behavior important, or is it just the behavior that we're considering?
The motive and the behavior together is what we are considering. If you're controlling someone out of fear, it depends. Are you the one afraid, or the one who is going through the thing who is afraid?
No, you are. I mean, you're controlling someone because
you are afraid. Then straight away it's toxic, because you are going to prevent the person from doing what they know very well they are capable of doing.
Okay, so
Animwaa.
no. It's, you see, you know how we are as Ghanaians. When we hear something, we are running with it.
I know.
Like, no.
I get it, and I get where you're coming with the toxic thing, because it's become such a basic word as gaslighting.
Yeah.
You are trying to say something like, you are gaslighting me. Like, it's not even that serious.
Like, you're
and
dumb,
then
you're stupid. What you're saying is so stupid. It's not even gaslighting. Like, what kind of way Jimmy cried to the giant? Like, stop. It's not even gaslighting.
Yeah,
It's just
that is why I always encourage people. You need to actually study some of these things to understand it. When you do, then you'll be able to tell, what am I dealing with? And sometimes you need to take your time. Don't jump to conclusion.
Don't jump to label
I mean, because sometimes a behavior is part of somebody's temperament, not necessarily,
and can be solved by very
yes,
little.
because sometimes certain behaviors are people's temperaments and not necessarily toxic, but maybe because you are also a very different, mind-body constitution, you also are very different from them. It may feel like it's taking your space, or it's becoming energy draining for you.
So point number one, I think, is just because someone is different from you
doesn't mean they are toxic. No.
Yeah.
That's why you need to be understanding first.
And
take your time before you diagnose people as toxic or whatever.
And the reason I'm so concerned about it is because I know people so I have a friend who has abandonment issues because his mom died when he was young.
Okay.
And then his father left him, and he was tossed from one uncle to auntie to uncle to auntie. So he generally has like separation anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, and so I remember he was telling me when he and his wife first got together, she used to see him as controlling, because he was always like, oh, where are you? Where are this? Da, 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 da. And so one day she sat down with him, she had a conversation. He opened up and expressed how he felt. And she found out that just regular checking in with him in the course of the day completely healed him to the point where now he could actually go 6-7 hours without hearing from her, and he himself could compute, you know, that, okay, she must be at work, okay, she's going to pick the kids, she's going to. So sometimes I feel like relationships are a space for healing.
It
and
is.
We come with so much
We need
baggage.
to create space for
so
people.
before you suddenly just say someone is toxic, you know,
you need to be.
And the first way to resolve this issue is when it happens, because toxic takes time, and then you can't just say from one incident that someone is toxic or someone is gaslighting or someone is a narcissist.
So gaslighting is really worrying you. A narcissist,
everybody's a narcissist. Like, how is a person a narcissist?
No.
And I have this thing that I tell a friend of mine whenever a relationship issue comes up. I ask her, is this a you problem or a he problem?
Or the two, or the two of you.
Because sometimes it's your perspective.
Yeah.
So when the issue happens, try and seek understanding
of yourself first.
So you would ask yourself, why do I feel this way about this?
And that's my number one question.
That is self-awareness.
Like, I'm always like, yo, names, like, what's going on with you? Why are you acting out?
Yeah.
Why did you snap?
Why
did you? Sometimes it's just because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I don't do hunger. Like, I am very cranky when I'm hungry.
I don't do lateness. I just go off myself when somebody is late, or when I have to start something on a particular time and it doesn't go. I just go off.
And then there's really little behaviors. Like, for example, I would never have an emotional conversation in the evening when I'm tired, because everything is so heightened. And you know how we were taught that never go to bed angry. But sometimes you should just go to bed
and sleep and let it go in the sleep.
In the morning, you're like, you know what? This was actually not a big deal. So I think that before we diagnose something as toxic, is really take an in-depth look at yourself.
In-depth look. You can't just say
take the in-depth look. of yourself when you've checked in, and be honest with yourself. Check in with yourself and see that, is this a me problem?
Yeah.
Now, when you realize that this is not a me problem, okay. I realize that when I want to have conversations with you, your first reaction is push it off or sweep it under the carpet. Why?
I like to have, when you're dealing with men, this is what I've learned. This is free advice. I record things, not record with the phone, like write pen and paper.
Oh, okay.
So I try to have a conversation Monday, you push it away. Tuesday, you push it away. Because when you are having that conversation, they'll say, me never.
Oh, you are. That is how somebody got blocked in real life and they were mad about it. I was trying to have a conversation with you when you were doing onlooking.
Yeah.
After I blocked you, you are mad. Why are you mad?
So is this show that I used to come and do?
I was trying to talk to you, but you weren't trying to talk to me, so you are blocked.
Wow.
Okay.
I see.
Okay. And this is not toxic behavior.
No, I don't know about that.
No, you don't. You are not going to define it.
But moving on, if you're dealing with a toxic person, you should definitely have evidence.
Yes.
It really makes the conversation. So Monday at 7:54, this is what you did.
Okay.
These were your words.
Yeah.
Tuesday this, Wednesday that, last week this, last week that. And then you force them to confront it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the automatic go-to in a relationship most of the time is a man just saying that,
Deny,
you're being
deny,
emotional,
deny,
You're being-
or you're
yeah,
not
it didn't happen.
And it's
Yes.
like they can't remember things.
Yeah.
So I've learned also now, like at first, I didn't like having serious conversations on
Conversations, yeah.
WhatsApp. Because I like the tone. But the WhatsApp serious conversations.
Screenshot,
Because
baby.
you can even save it. Yeah.
This.
Screenshot.
Oh, benefits of self-care.
Evidence.
Sorry, benefits of WhatsApp.
Benefits of WhatsApp. Evidence.
Is everything. Because you said this. You can't unsay what you said.
Me,
Yeah.
I did never said that.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what was the question?
We were talking about signs of toxic
And how we
behavior.
needed to differentiate it from normal behavior.
behavior.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're
So where should
saying
we go now?
anymore.
Just kidding.
Where should we go now? Let's
I'm
close the
just
show.
kidding.
So how do we
Sure,
move
go.
on? So now you realize that you may be or may not be in a toxic relationship. What
No,
should you do?
I feel like we really need to identify. So I want more strong points on what
It
toxic.
is. Okay.
Avoidance, I would say, of tough conversation can be toxic. But then again, you see, how a person responds to an issue may be toxic, but they may not be toxic as a person.
Yeah.
So like we were saying, note that somebody's behavior may be toxic, but that doesn't make them a toxic person per se. So like we said, introspect, then ask why. And don't just do it like a one-time thing. At least try it twice
A couple of
or
times.
3 times before, because it's definitely going to be different in a marriage than in a relationship. You're not just going to be like, oh, every time I want to talk to you, you don't want to talk, so I'm not doing it again. That's not how we work. We're growing. Anyway, why are you doing
I
like that
know,
with
I'm
your,
not doing anything.
with your eyes? So for me, that would be like one of my salient points. And then people, both men and women, should also find out, like, when your partner is coming to you with something, try. You know how people just shut down, like, war, like, I don't want to do. How are we going to progress?
How are we gonna? Okay, so the conversation is actually about moving
Forward.
after a toxic relationship. So let's say you've identified your toxic relationship. You've decided that this is not for me. How do you heal from the apology you never got? Basically.
You give yourself the apology.
Yeah.
That's the first part. Give yourself an apology you were not giving. And I mean, being in a toxic relationship.
But Ariel, I have a question. So where are you going after the show?
Oh, really? You and
wish you
Adam
had
Kra.
prepared her.
And then I'm hear me, sir.
distracted.
Look,
I'm
you
like,
made me
hey.
speak tree cra.
No, like-
You please stop.
Please,
you
listen, me, I always saw you guys. So
Oh.
if you can, you better go to Facebook because the view there is.
talk to your madam.
I know, I'm looking at you and I'm wondering. I know we have.
I'm answering a question. I'm going to lose my thought of.
Yeah, right now, what matters to us is what we are like.
Oh, look
Where are you going? Hey,
Okay, what have I done? Look at me. What have I done?
It's okay.
We're all wearing. Look, is it not the same
we are
thing?
all- where? Please
I
continue.
can't talk anymore.
You can't talk.
Stop. Saturday, Adam did the same thing
You
to
said
me.
heal yourself. So you heal-
This is not fair, please.
We are sorry.
It's not
Eden
fair.
and I are sorry. So yes, please heal here.
Okay, I wasn't saying healing.
Is forgive. Write the letter.
No,
apology.
issue
I forgot
yourself
my
the apology that you
Apologize
didn't
to
receive.
Give yourself an apology you were not giving. I mean, but the whole thing with a toxic relationship is that if you've been in a toxic relationship for more than a year, 2, 3 years, getting over it doesn't come easy.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we call trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Why you stayed in that long becomes something that means you were bonded to the environment. You know, as people, we get used to patterns. And so you get used to that thing. So much so that when you even leave it, it's like, it doesn't feel normal.
Can I tell you something?
Please do.
So a few years ago, I was praying and I told God that I want like a really calm, peaceful, loving relationship.
Yeah.
And I legit heard God ask me, "Are you ready for peace?" Like, you're praying for peace, but you're so used to drama
Yeah.
that if I actually gave you peace, you probably wouldn't handle it.
You
Exactly.
probably be, this is too quiet. Let me
Exactly.
stir up some drama.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You'll be looking for drama.
So then I
Yeah.
had to look in myself and realize, oh yeah, if I'm not, at that time, I'm not like that anymore.
Yeah.
But at that time, if I'm not fighting and causing some drama,
Yeah.
somebody's crying, there's a whole cantata going on, I feel like the relationship is not passionate and it's not loving.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's
Yes.
like people who say, oh, you don't love someone if you are not jealous. Like, who has energy
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
to come and be doing, where are you, who are you with, who are you talking to? That's too much drama.
Sometimes you have to fake the jealousy just so that, you know, it's a bit.
I don't have, and like for me, I can be very nonchalant about certain things. I remember there was a time my ex dropped me off at something, and it was with a group of male friends of mine. And so my
you've
friend
probably beaten. Sorry, never mind.
So my friend was like, so he's going. I said, yes. So he knows you are here. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so you don't care. I said, I don't know where he's going. Like, I'm not, we've spent the time we need to spend together. Now we have things we have to do. So he's going to go do what he's going to go do. And as you can see, I'm doing what I want to do. So like, I may not be that like clingy, too much person. Even for someone who, quality time is my love language. For me, quality time means different things. When we spoke about that.
Yeah.
Being present in the moment, it can be an hour. Once I have that hour
Connection
that I need,
Yeah.
I'm fixed. I'm good to go. I'm not the person you want to be calling me morning, afternoon, evening. Have you eaten? Why? Why?
I
Have you
just send
eaten?
food. Don't ask me if I've eaten. I'm always hungry. Just send food.
Like, send some food, but don't be asking me, have you eaten? And then, you know, some people will think that, oh, you haven't asked them that, oh, have you eaten, so you don't care about them. Brother, do you want to eat or not? When you're not
If you
eating
want
before
to
you
eat, go and eat.
before you met me. If that's what you're looking for in terms of like me caring for you, you're not going to get it. So back to Ariel's situation about giving yourself that apology that you need. That's one thing.
That was the answer to that.
We digress, so we are back.
We?
Yes, we.
Okay.
I'm listening to you.
It's you.
You're doing your thing.
Me
I'm
myself,
listening.
I'm like, well, right now the show. What was the topic?
You two
Because
are discussing. No, so we're talking about the fact that if it's after a year, if you stay in a toxic relationship for more than 2 years, 3 years, there will be a trauma bonding. Definitely. There'll be
Definitely.
certain things that you're so used to, though they are not healthy.
That-
and
that's
unhappy,
your normal.
It's become your normal.
Yeah.
So that is a part you need to work on before you can even feel ready to move on.
Yeah.
Yes. So you need to get your balance again.
Yeah.
Totally disconnected from those small drama, fear, distrust. I mean, you have trust issues.
Do you
have
see all
guilt
the memes
issues.
where people say that they didn't realize they were in a bad relationship until they were in a good relationship?
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
That's
yes.
like that's what
and,
you're saying.
And because if you go straight into even a good relationship after being in a toxic one for a long time,
you don't know what to
you
do
sabotage
with
the whole
You
relationship.
don't know what to do.
You
I saw a
will-
meme.
you will
Telling you.
sabotage it. Yeah.
And the person sent her a text like, oh, how are you? Have you eaten? She's like, why are you asking me if I've eaten? Da, 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 da,
I've seen
da.
it. It's on TikTok. Like, good night, love you. Like, why should I go to sleep now? Like,
oh my God.
Because it's the toxicity.
Yeah.
So you don't know what
yes,
goodness
yes,
is.
what goodness is. You can. It will be difficult to really identify when the person is really truly loving you, because you're so used to all those petty things that sometimes you're looking for them to be normal and it's not coming anymore. So you need to give yourself time. Find all the things that you're still thinking about in that relationship that you think it should happen in your day-to-day life, you know. And once you are able to identify those trauma bonding and you're able to deal with them, it's easier with a therapist, yes,
or a life coach,
yes,
because you yourself sometimes
you can't
identify
them. You need a very deep conversation to be able to identify some of the
deep, knowledgeable conversation.
Yes,
because sometimes we have deep conversations that don't have sense.
Exactly.
You're talking to somebody about deep things, and they're giving you advice that's completely off course because they don't know what they're talking about.
Yes,
because you don't know what you're talking about too. The two of you are having a conversation about.
Anymore? Are you talking about somebody?
Yeah, she's definitely talking about somebody. You know, she is, because we've had this conversation, but we're not going to talk about this on radio. But then, I mean, just like you were saying, like, I love the fact that the apology that you didn't get, because most people get hung up on closure. And for me, I always say that the only closure I know
if it's closed, it's closed. Who should come and give you closure again? It's closed, it's closed.
And as you can see, I don't wear no weave, so I don't know nothing about closure.
No, I don't need
we
closure.
Don't do closure.
No, I don't do it too. I give myself closure. It's closed, I'm gone. I don't need any thesis and all that.
Because the thing about closure is that you're giving the power to someone else.
Yeah.
To be able to say this season is over. Why can't you determine, okay, this season for me is over, I am done, and I'm giving myself the closure? Because apparently men don't need closure.
No, they don't. They don't.
I mean, closure for what? And you see, sometimes some people's definition of closure is, oh, let's have that one last conversation. Let's have that last thing to feel like we're closing the chapter.
And when you keep saying I need closure, it means you are not really ready to let it go or move on.
Yeah,
that's
because
what happens.
You
are still thinking that in that conversation you can convince him or he will convince you to do it again. 90% of the time when people say I haven't gotten closure, I'm waiting for closure, it's because they are not ready to do the moving on. So they are thinking that it's gonna happen again, things will connect again in the conversation. The man will say, or he will say I'm sorry, or she will say I'm sorry, let's do it again. Closure, if it's ended, it's ended. There's no need for another.
And I mean, to add to what Errol was saying about the apology thing, and then obviously you don't wait for closure. The big thing for me, and that has been personal, is therapy or talking to someone. Because for me, my personal situation, when I went to therapy, also a counselor, I spoke to a professional after my breakup, was I needed to unpack what had happened, because it's been 3 years and we're like great friends. When the relationship ended, I was like, I don't understand
why it ended.
Why didn't this work? It was such a big question that hung, and I had this deep sense that if I don't get to the bottom of this and fix it and have an understanding of myself, it would happen again. And one thing that I always tell people, and that is the terrible decision, is to jump from one relationship to another. Because for the longest time, I was those people who, like, you start dating someone, they're doing something, like, your first thought is, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, you're going to do something. I'm so convinced that you're going to do something to destroy this. And so my bag is already at the door. Once the shoe drops, I'm out. That can be a response to being in a toxic relationship, or in a relationship where certain things have been toxic for some time. But what going to therapy did for me is equip me with the tools I need, so that, yes, I'm with someone new and they're doing something. When something happens, my first instinct is not to run. It's like, is this a reality? Is this fact, or are these my feelings?
Am I just creating something?
Am I just creating all
Am I hungry? Am I sleepy?
Have I eating? Okay. Is
this something ice cream can fix?
Like chocolate? I think I'm craving chocolates this evening.
Girls, come back to the conversation.
This evening I have to eat chocolate.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, just
wow.
No, this is the second time this thing is happening to me.
What?
I usually don't crave food. I crave locations, but second time I'm craving chocolate. This is serious,
so confused.
Yeah, you people did your own. I'm doing my own now.
So as I was saying before the chocolate came about, Therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, it's important.
What are your tips for picking a good therapist?
Who follow him or her, like if they have a page or whatever, see if there's a connection over
If
there.
they walk their talk.
If they walk their talk. That was very key for me. And I always vividly remember my first session, right? He said, do you want to sit on a chair? I said, no, I want to sit on the floor.
Okay, fair enough.
And like it was that room that he gave me to be myself.
Yourself,
Yeah.
So my session was on the floor, and I had a mug, like a cup of tea, and that was how the session
I can only
went.
have serious emotional conversations when I'm sitting on the floor.
Yeah, I need to be comfortable. And
Yeah.
it was, and I would never forget the
On the
question
bed.
of where we were having a conversation, and I was like, oh, and my ex, he wasn't giving like 100, and I said, but what if what he was giving, that was his 100?
It's 100.
Yeah.
And so sometimes
see?
we are all up in our heads,
Yeah,
like
in your
the
head.
person
Yeah.
unmet expectations, but sometimes people have expectations of their partners that they have not communicated to them.
It's not even that. So this is something I said in my podcast last week, but that's just me dropping that there's a podcast
Every time.
The Secret Life of Adults. You want to go and watch it?
I
It's on
think I
TikTok,
heard
YouTube.
someone talking about it. I haven't listened yet. I
Oh,
will.
you should. It's called The Secret Lives of Adults.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and everybody who's been calling me asking me if I've lost my mind. I haven't.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then it's that good.
It's depends
Ah.
on how you look at it.
It's
Anyway,
that good.
so therapists. My first experience with a therapist puts me off for about. Wow, I'm old enough. I can actually say like 15 years.
Oh, okay.
About a very long time, because I went into this woman's office, was at a hospital, so broken, so hurt, and the first thing she did was lay it all on me. So the first thing was like, hi, hello, okay, so write down what you did to contribute to.
The problem. That wasn't terrible.
I was like,
Ease me into this.
no, I was like, I need to pee.
And you know.
I walked out and I never went back.
Wow. That was
Yeah.
so.
No,
I never went
and
back.
adding to Aram's mention about needing a therapist is so important, because what we do is when you're talking to friends, family, blah blah blah, it's problem oriented. The conversation is still about the problem.
It's not even that area. When you're talking to friends and family, unless they have the professional knowledge, it is
That-
opinion based.
Yes,
and
yes.
experience based.
Yes,
So
yes.
then I'm
yes.
telling you what I know from my experience.
Exactly.
Because I don't have the knowledge to be able to look at your situation objectively.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
counsel you
And
in
counsel
a way
you, and-
that is research based and data proven and all of that.
That was where I was going. So you
Sorry.
can share the problem. They will see the problem. You talk about the problem. Their solutions will be from their perspective. Now they may not be able to give you tools to help you to navigate the situation you are going through. So you leave them, and your head is full of the same thing you're going.
That's why I don't
Yes.
take advice from my girlfriends about men.
But
I always talk
when
to
you
my male
talk to a
friends about male
therapist or a coach or somebody, they are able to let you first bring out the things.
my
Some
son
of the
is calling. Never mind.
Wow.
Sorry.
they help you to be able to first unpack, like you
Yes.
said, to unpack
Unburdening.
some of the things you can't tell even the friends and family you are talking to. With your therapist or your coach, you are able to unpack and say it. And I mean, for me, I'll let you know this is a safe space. I don't know you, I don't know your friend, I don't know your mother, I don't know your father. If you want to insult, insult. You want to scream, scream. If you want to, whatever you feel like doing that you've been holding on, you are able to do it there, and it helps you to feel okay. Now, with that out of your chest, you're able to listen to the guide or the suggestions the therapist to give you, and the tools they are going to give you. Now, they will never let you feel like it's your fault, nor is the fault of the other
You
person.
yourself
That
will
is
come to your own
Oh, no.
that is the
And
whole
that
thing.
is
It's
the
nobody's
help.
fault. It is a situation that has
Sometimes it's
happened. How do you come out of
Yes,
it?
sometimes it's
Yeah,
your
but that's not what the therapist
you
is
yourself
looking
will
for.
realize
You
that,
will
oh,
realize, you
this
will come
was
to start
all
seeing
me.
what you did to
Yeah.
contribute to it. And helping you to take responsibility for your actions is also one of the best things a therapist can do for you. If you don't take responsibility, you contributed some way, somehow. Nothing comes uninvited. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, she can say
Well, I
that.
didn't know what she was going to say. though.
Okay.
Can I say something? I think I'll be done very good. I think the most amazing therapist for people like us that are very too known, that's when we go into therapist's office, we feel like we are rather going to counsel them and tell them how they don't know what they are doing. Is the Holy Spirit.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Jesus.
And I kid you not.
Yeah.
Because
He's very patient.
apart from the fact that he's very patient, he's very insightful.
Yeah.
Because even when you're talking to another human, you can only tell them the things you remember. But sometimes the trauma is coming from things that you have blocked out and you don't remember.
Yeah.
And so you find that when you're open, oh my God, when you're open to, like, you know, really just praying or really listening to the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
there are certain prompts about certain things in your life.
That will come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That will come up.
Okay, this is why this is why that. And I think that's one of my favorite things about
Absolutely.
about God is, you know, how knowledgeable
Yeah.
he is of
Yeah.
the
But then who
intricacies.
else
Yeah.
knows you better than the one who created you?
Well,
you.
yeah, and sees everything. I don't
knows
like the idea
everything.
that he sees everything and knows everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, God, can you turn your eyes to the left?
Oh,
Don't
no,
look at this one.
Don't look.
You know
Like
what I
God,
mean?
you want
Like-
God to do on looking for
Yeah,
you.
you know
I was like,
what-
I see you.
I mean, so if I'm saying this because therapy is expensive
yeah.
in Ghana,
But
So-
Jesus is free.
but Jesus
It's
is
free.
you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, like joke, seriously. If you're feeling, you know, kind of in yourself, you know, take time out
And
open up.
Open
And
up.
yeah, even in that regard, right? I remember, I mean, as a Christian,
Why did you hesitate?
I
Because
have
we won't believe that you are.
That's not the point anymore.
I'm starting a church.
So before I
Me
went,
too.
Rebels Association of Jesus, like people who are not accepted in regular churches.
and like
I
before,
think I'll be your first member.
Yeah, and Aram.
Yeah.
before I went to like did the whole therapy thing, and I remember I was praying because we're just stuck in the relationship. Like we're going forward, we're not going back. We're just in this loop, right? And I was praying, I was, God, what do I do? It's like, you need to get out of this. I'm like, what? Are you serious?
I like
All these
him.
years? It's like, no, I am not going to fix this. This
Get
is a mess.
out.
Get out.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's
Yeah.
like, no.
I've heard that a few times too.
Yeah.
And so I knew, and you see, I mean, if we, as people, or like how I like to call it, as children of God, God is interested in every aspect of our
lives, yeah.
especially our relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so if you think that you're going to start your own thing and come and let God doesn't work
No.
like that.
Yeah.
God doesn't bless messes. So you are setting yourself up if you start something
Messily.
and you think that, oh, he's going to fix it. No, you need to come out or you stay in the mess.
Yeah.
And
One
suffer
of
the
the-
consequences of being
Sorry.
in the mess.
Yeah. One of the things that really stood up to me when I was going through my transformation was being honest with yourself is one of the most difficult things one can do. So a lot of times we are not being honest with ourselves.
That is why.
That is why what?
That is why. What is your problem? This is about
Like that
happiness.
is why I was so.
That is why
Uh-huh.
people tell me that's like me. I'm too no. That is why when somebody comes to criticize me, I'm looking at them like, do you think that you are really telling me something I don't know?
Yeah, I know myself.
So like I come across as like somebody who doesn't take criticism. But if you are not able to tell me something that I don't know, what you're telling me doesn't help me. Like
Yeah.
you are telling me what I know.
yeah.
Or
Well,
telling
yeah.
me something that is not even
Woohoo.
true. Because
It's-
that's your opinion of
I,
me.
You see the second level of too know.
Like you're telling me, and someone I had that issue with the person. The person came in like you're this, you're that. I was just looking at them, and then later I'm sure they went to say somewhere and thought about it and came back, and I'm like, see, this would have affected me if I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
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 I've paid good money. I deal with the Holy Spirit, and I pay good money to see
to be
someone
able
to
to-
help
yeah,
me
yeah,
dissect.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't
Yeah.
tell me nothing.
You can
Yeah.
like you really can't.
You
And
really
it's
can.
just-
We
So-
need to be honest with ourselves, to look at ourselves and be truthful to ourselves of our own shortcomings, our own weaknesses, and embrace it.
Yeah.
Until then, you'll be lying to yourself forever and ever and
Yeah,
ever and
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
And you always not take responsibility for anything. You're always, oh, I didn't do anything. I never did
You ask
that.
people, what did you do to contribute to your life? And me, nothing.
Nothing.
Really?
That's not
Actually,
possible.
when anybody asks me, so what did you do to contribute to this? My answer is usually everything.
Yeah.
Because I messed it up from the beginning by choosing this person. So it is my fault.
Right
All the
from
way.
there.
Before you
Before
even get
he
to the
even
point where you
started.
say they did something.
I did.
Point number one is
I chose the
them.
person.
That is the point at which I messed up. So like,
You know?
because if I hadn't, then who they
wouldn't
are
be.
wouldn't have mattered. So yeah, like for me,
That's where you started
Yeah.
from. It
And-
does.
and
It
one-
releases you of I mean, when you are honest with yourself, you are able to become more introspective
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you are able to move forward with some experience or lesson from what happened.
Yeah.
Without that, you don't pick any lessons. So you keep on doing the same thing.
Exactly. Like if you like
The
girls
same
and
thing.
you can't tell yourself, I like girls.
You know?
I'm very foolish and
You
I
know?
like girls. Then you're always going to mess up because you need to be aware of the things that you're not like really good at,
Yeah.
so that you don't. So right now, what topic are we talking about?
And another thing I had to say about even just coming
Your
out of the
producer
whole,
will your producer will give you a query.
coming out of the toxic situation is when you do it the right way, like we're saying, give yourself the apology, do therapy and all these things. You also extend grace to people. You are much nicer or much more sensible and you
So
move
I feel
differently
like
in
that's
your
a
new
new
relationship.
phrase which I've come to love.
Extending
like giving
grace.
Give
Yeah.
grace to yourself. Like give grace.
Yeah.
Extend grace to
Extend
yourself
grace.
and
Like,
yeah.
give it to other
grace.
people as
I think it's
well.
from like sisters, or it was like one of those. You know, yeah.
I didn't pick it from there, but
Where did you pick it from?
I can't remember, but it
But
wasn't
it's a
from
thing
sisters.
now, you know,
It
give
is a
grace.
thing.
Grace to yourself.
I think it's all these reels we watch on Instagram, to be honest.
But yeah, but then I mean,
Now
God shows
social
so
media
much grace to
give us all these terms
Yeah, but
here
then,
and
and I
there.
feel like it's even from the Bible because God gives us so much grace.
So much.
Of
And
course,
he said
the
we
word
should
grace
give
is
each
from
other
the
grace
Bible.
and give
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
It sounds so romantic.
And for me, if you want to give
Yeah.
yourself grace, you can't give yourself grace if you don't tap into gratitude. Grace flows through gratitude. If you are not in gratitude,
The
you can't.
gratitude is the pipe.
It's exactly where the grace will flow through.
Yeah.
So if you want to give yourself grace,
Do a plus.
start looking at what can I be grateful for here? And from there, you can feel all the grace coming to you.
Sometimes I don't need gratitude to give myself. I just give myself the
Of
grace.
course.
If you don't give yourself grace, who
Like,
give you
this
grace?
is where we are. We have given ourselves
But that is
grace.
gratitude
End
in
of
itself. By
conversation.
accepting that this is where
God,
we
I
are.
thank you for
Charlie,
Like some mornings,
So,
some
hey.
mornings I'm at the gym. I know that when I close, I am going to buy both float and cocoa with sugar, milk, and granules. Wallahi, like I give myself the grace. When I get there, the woman be like, "Oh, madam," and now I say, "Yesterday I was a disciplined person.
Today, you are giving yourself grace. You are spoiling
That is
people.
not how grace works.
Anyway, you are spoiling people.
Anyway, that's not how
My
the
life
grace
is too short. Why? Why?
Balance.
Why do you
That's
want to?
all. Yesterday you didn't go. Today you are there.
Just
Balance.
balance.
Yeah.
And the days that we
balance.
buy the cocoa is brutal.
Hey, this cocoa you have to buy some for me.
Oh, Charlie,
milk
Charlie,
in
Charlie.
Kati and what? Both
No,
fruits.
both floats.
She.
Anymore.
Bedo.
After
I will
that, you
report
know
to-
that.
I'll report you to settle.
After that, you know that from the morning till 12,
You-
productivity is
is
zero,
zero.
zero, zero,
Why,
zero,
eh,
zero.
mrek.
You have taken the day off. And you start. That's what giving grace. Anyway, toxic relationships. So wow.
Wow. What are the people saying? The people on the internet and the WhatsApp, what are they saying?
TT says, good evening. Interesting topic, but did I hear men don't need closure? We usually don't say, but when a man is done, man is done, is done.
It's done.
It's only selfish who want to. TT, the closure and what you said, no.
It's
Anyway.
only selfish who wants to take advantage.
Taxpayer
to try
says, in
something
addition,
again.
talk about toxic environments. That's a killer too. I happened to witness some ladies mock and victimize another lady because she was slim and had no big breasts and butts at Legon campus because it was that open for some to. The victim was shy, embarrassed, and started to. Oh, very unfortunate. How do we get here as a people? Yeah. Kwame Jantua, does the discussion have? Okay, let's Kwame. Does the discussion have to be only on toxic relationships? And the word toxic can be relative. Yeah, the discussion is on toxic relationships. It doesn't have to be, but that's what we chose it to be today. So I guess maybe next week will be something different. So, okay, final words. It's okay. You people should do and go.
It's time for us to do and go.
Yeah, start doing.
Final
Because
words.
you can talk for 4 minutes. So 4 minutes, 4
I'm
minutes.
not talking 4 minutes anymore. It's not yet time. You don't talk.
Ava, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that,
Your
So, like
producer
we-
will beat you.
like we're discussing today, a person's response can be toxic. Their behavior can be toxic. Or that doesn't make the whole relationship toxic. So let's be circumspect in how we just label people and things
as
as
toxic.
toxic.
And I wanted to ask about this. Sometimes in a relationship, are we toxic?
Yes.
Because it's very easy
We
to
have
point the
our
finger
own-
and say that,
yes.
you are toxic, the relationship.
Yeah.
But actually, it's like, bro,
You are the
it's
one
you
creating
yourself.
the
So
environment,
introspection
yeah.
helps you identify your own toxic traits. And sometimes it will be something the person is doing that is bringing that side out of you. I realize that I can be passive aggressive when I'm not getting something the way I want it done. So you ask your question like, how are you? Like, oh, I had a really fantastic day. There was nothing fantastic about my day. I'm just pissed, but I'm not able to articulate that in the moment. So I'll just be like passive aggressive towards you. Ask me a question, I'll give you one-liners and all of that. I realize that, why am I doing this? This is not who I am, right? So identifying your personal toxic traits is key.
It's very important.
So always, like we said, when something happens, ask yourself, why am I feeling the way about this? Is this fact or is this feeling? Sort it out through yourself.
With yourself before
first.
you.
Then ask your partner. Every time I've tried this week, do what Animwaa does. Pen it down, because niggas be lying or deny.
Deny.
So ask him. I tried to talk to you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I need to have a conversation with you. And every time I'm trying to talk to you, this is what happens. Why? So that gives them time.
And from a place of not attacking. 'Cause
Exactly.
when you start a conversation of
Yeah.
attacking, then
Yeah.
there's
Exactly.
a problem.
So ask. That's where grace comes in.
Grace.
This is
Buffalo
me trying
Temple.
to understand why you do what you do, so
The most
that
annoying thing is when you get the response of, I don't know.
you need to know. If not, I need to know where the exit is and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Because this is not, you cannot always not know. So that gives you an opportunity to now go and sit with yourself and ask and answer the question, why do I do this when somebody I care about is trying to have a
Conversation
with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they have to come back to you, and there's the need to hold people. Sometimes the person doesn't know, honestly, because nobody they've ever dated has ever questioned them.
Yeah.
They just let them do whatever it is they want to do.
Yeah,
But
that's
you're
the thing.
setting the tone
Yeah.
that if you're going to be with me, this
These
is
are
not
the
how
boundaries,
we do.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
have conversations. We don't throw tantrums. We don't not talk to people.
No,
for 3
we
days.
don't throw tantrums. I throw tantrums and you watch.
Okay.
We
hear.
don't do that.
Sometimes.
And you say you want peace.
You want people, I mean, sometimes you have to stir the waters.
Oh my God.
So I really like that, because sometimes you see when you are a very peaceful wife or a peaceful girlfriend, your husband forgets that you can be trouble.
Oh
So
no.
sometimes
like
you
some
need to
people-
show
Every
them-
so often,
you
it
give them
flashes
trouble.
and you know that she hasn't lost it. It's very important. Very
No,
important.
but something just came up for me. I mean, toxic and abusive relationship, they are not always the same. They are not always the same. You
That's
can
true.
be in a toxic relationship, but it's not abusive.
Yeah.
But every abusive relationship
It's
is toxic.
toxic, of
Yeah.
course,
So
yeah.
we need
This
to
is giving
also
Venn diagram right now.
we have to know those
Sister,
know those things. I mean, to know that an abusive relationship not necessarily mean it's a toxic
Yeah,
relationship.
okay.
Yeah.
So now I'd like to introduce the chairman of this occasion to offer her closing remarks. Ariel.
Who is the chairman?
Is it not you?
Me.
So closing remarks.
No. There's no closing. You, Ariam, do your
She has
closing
done
remarks.
hers.
She's done hers.
Yeah, she has.
Oh, okay. My closing remarks. So for this conversation, I think it's something that a lot of people do experience. I mean, toxic relationship is bound to happen once in almost everybody's life, and it's not necessarily the fault of anybody. We've all gone through things. And I think we should take responsibility of trying to become more self-aware.
Yeah.
Know the things that are bothering us, why we act the
Why
way
we
we
are the
act,
way we are,
why
yeah.
things make us feel the way we feel. Why did I feel like this?
Yeah.
I think a lot of self-introspection is needed for us to grow.
Yeah.
We need to grow
We
up.
need to grow, yeah.
We can, and there's room for everybody to grow. So let's not put the work on one person. Let's put the work on ourselves. I want to become a better version of myself so that when someone meets me, I am that person that they want. Not I'm staying the same, looking out for a good person.
They accept me
And
as who I
then
am.
when I go, I am as I am. So put
The
some.
only person who accepts you as you are
Is yourself.
Jesus.
Yes.
And even that, after he has accepted you,
He will
you
do
will
something
change.
about you.
Exactly.
And we are certainly not Jesus.
Exactly.
just
So
wanted
hey,
to make that point.
we need to develop ourselves and make room that there's always place for change and growth.
Yeah.
We can always change and grow.
Always change.
So we are our best self. But if you've been in a toxic relationship and you're for sure knowing it's a toxic relationship, make time and see someone for
Someone
help.
for-
It is
before
very
you go into
before you go into another
new
relationship,
relationship.
because the dynamics we haven't been able to delve into them, because there are different types of even toxic relationships.
I mean, the show was not really.
Oh, no, I
untoxic.
get it.
It was supposed to be, kind of the bridge between coming out of a
and
toxic
yes,
going
yes.
into
So you
a
need
new-
support to understand what you've gone through. Some of the things you even experience, if you've been able to now come out,
Yeah.
you will go through certain stages until you start rushing into another. There are things you need
Yeah,
to do
to do,
to
yeah.
prepare to heal properly, psychologically, emotionally, even physically. You might
Yeah.
have picked some disease on the way, so you need to work on all that. Oh yes, you
Right,
have.
Okay. I wanted to add that healing is not linear. It's not a
No,
straight
Oh
line.
no.
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 And also, healing almost never ends. So you may
No.
do the therapy and all of that and get into a great relationship.
Something
but
will
you
come
have
up.
to keep that self-awareness level, because love can trigger you sometimes.
Yeah.
Somebody just being loving, just being kind,
Why are you being so nice to
you
me?
know,
Yeah.
can trigger things in you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the how, you know, it's like a gauge of how healed you are.
You
It's
are.
how you can recognize. I do that sometimes. Somebody does something, I see the trigger, I'm like, I see you,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna work,
Yeah,
you know, because
yeah.
so just
Awareness
to say
is
that, just to
key.
say that, you know, even in your new relationship after therapy and all of that, just be aware that
Something will
healing
come.
is
We are
Something-
always a
and
work
we're
in
imperfect.
progress.
So
Always a work in
definitely somebody,
progress.
yeah.
You can't finish the work.
yeah. I mean, Dinah Hamilton said it so.
That's
yeah.
what.
Can't finish.
Something about work in progress.
Feel free
Hey.
to slide into our DMs if you need us to recommend some good therapists, counselors. We have Ariel here. I know some good people. So.
I think what Aram is saying is that she's single. Feel free to slide.
I
into
am
her
not
DM.
a
Aram.
Oh
She
my
can
God.
therapize you, and you will
No.
be. Anyway, this is Strong and Sassy. The views expressed here are not necessarily the views of Multimedia Ghana Limited. These are our own views. So yeah. Anyway, handing over to Faustina, bringing up the news at 8:00. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been Aram and Ariel. My name's Anim-Addo. Check out The Secret Life of Adults, please, on YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. And we'll see you again next week, Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday is March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Stay safe out there. Thank you to the producers. You guys are amazing. Good night.